One mistake changed Carl Cox's life forever. Not a mistake on stage. Not a mistake in the studio. A mistake made by the people who underestimated him. For years, they laughed at electronic music. They called DJs people who simply pressed play. They said it would never last. Carl Cox spent his entire life proving them wrong. Today, millions know him as one of the greatest DJs in history, the King of Techno, the face of Ibiza, the man who could control an entire crowd for 8 straight hours without anyone wanting to leave. But long before, the sold-out festivals, the world tours, and the legendary sunrise sets, there was a quiet boy living in London, a boy who struggled to fit in. Carl Cox was born in 1962 into a hard-working family. His parents had moved to Britain from Barbados, hoping to build a better future. Money wasn't endless, life wasn't easy, but one thing was always present inside the house: music, soul, reggae, funk, disco. Records spun almost every day. Without realizing it, young Carl was learning how rhythm could change the way people felt. At school, life wasn't always kind. He struggled with dyslexia. Reading was difficult. Learning was frustrating. Some teachers thought he simply wasn't trying hard enough. They were wrong. Carl's brain worked differently. While others memorized textbooks, he remembered rhythms, bass lines, melodies, patterns. Music became the language that finally made sense. As a teenager, he bought his first turntables, not because he dreamed of fame, because he loved making people dance. He started playing small birthday parties, wedding receptions, community halls, any place that would let him bring records. He carried heavy speakers, amplifiers, boxes of vinyl. Sometimes he earned just enough to pay for fuel and food. Sometimes he earned nothing, but every event taught him something new. Carl noticed that great DJs weren't just playing songs. They were reading emotions, knowing exactly when to slow things down, when to build tension, when to surprise the crowd. That realization changed everything. He stopped thinking like someone playing music. He started thinking like someone telling a story. Then, during the late 1970s, a new sound began spreading through clubs across Britain. Electronic dance music, machines, drum computers, synthesizers. Many DJs ignored it. Carl didn't. The moment he heard it, he knew this wasn't a trend. This was the future. While others stayed comfortable playing disco, Carl took the risk. He embraced house music, acid house, techno sounds that many club owners didn't even understand. Some audiences walked away. Others couldn't stop dancing. Carl never panicked. He trusted his instincts because he believed that if music made him feel alive, eventually the rest of the world would feel it too. He was right. Very soon, those tiny clubs would no longer be enough. Everything was about to change. By the mid-1980s, something extraordinary was happening. Warehouses, factories, and abandoned buildings were becoming the hottest dance floors in Britain. The underground was exploding. Thousands of young people were discovering a completely new culture. No dress code, no celebrity status, no barriers, only music, only freedom. Carl Cox arrived at exactly the right moment. Night after night, he played longer sets, louder crowds, bigger clubs. His energy became impossible to ignore. Unlike many DJs, Carl never stood still. He danced, he smiled, he laughed, he celebrated every single record with the audience. People weren't just watching a DJ. They were watching someone genuinely having the time of his life. That connection became his signature. Soon, club owners began asking for Carl Cox by name. One booking became 5. 5 became 20. Within a few years, he was traveling across Britain almost every weekend. Then, the rave movement arrived. Acid house, massive illegal parties, thousands of people, dancing until sunrise. For many, it was a trend. For Carl, it was a revolution. Electronic music was no longer hiding underground. It was becoming a global movement. And Carl Cox was right, at the center of it. Then came his breakthrough records. I Want You Forever. Does It Feel Good to You? His productions started climbing the charts. For the first time, people who had never visited a nightclub knew his name. But even then, Carl refused to become a celebrity. He wanted to be known for one thing: the music. As the 1990s began, techno exploded across Europe, Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium, Spain. Every country wanted Carl Cox. His performances became legendary, not because of fireworks, not because of giant LED screens, because of one thing: his ability to control an entire dance floor. He could build tension for 10 minutes, then release it with one record. Thousands of people moving together like one heartbeat. Few DJs could do it. Carl made it look effortless. Then came Ibiza, the island already famous for nightlife. But Carl Cox would help transform it into something legendary. His residency at Space Ibiza became one of the most iconic in dance music history. Summer after summer, fans flew from every corner of the world, not just to visit Ibiza, to experience a Carl Cox set. Some waited for hours, others traveled thousands of kilometers, because everyone knew one thing: no two Carl Cox sets were ever the same. Every night was created for that moment, for those people, for that dance floor. And that's exactly what made him a legend. For many DJs, success is measured by hit records. For Carl Cox, it was measured by something else: respect. Year after year, new artists arrived, new trends appeared, new genres rose to the top. Many legends slowly disappeared. Carl Cox never did, because he never chased what was popular. He played what he believed in. That honesty earned something money could never buy: trust. Promoters trusted him. Fans trusted him. Artists trusted him. If Carl Cox closed a festival, people stayed until the very last record, not because they had to, because they wanted to. Then came one of the hardest moments of his career. Space Ibiza, the club that had become his second home, announced it was closing. For 15 summers, Carl had turned Tuesday nights into a tradition. Thousands of clubbers planned their vacations around those events. For many fans, seeing Carl Cox at Space was a dream. When the club closed, it felt like the end of an era. Carl walked into that final night knowing history was being written. The music lasted until sunrise. People laughed, people cried, strangers hugged as the final record ended. It wasn't just the closing of a nightclub, it was the end of one of the greatest chapters in electronic music. But Carl Cox didn't stop. He kept moving. He launched new events, new residencies, new festivals. He embraced technology without forgetting the soul of DJing. Even after decades behind the decks, his excitement never disappeared. Ask anyone who has met Carl Cox, and they'll tell you the same thing. He smiles, he laughs, he loves what he does. Not because he has to, because he still feels the same excitement he felt playing those tiny parties as a teenager. Looking back, it's incredible how many times people underestimated him. A boy who struggled with dyslexia. A teenager carrying heavy speakers into small community halls. A young DJ playing music that many believed would never become mainstream. Every prediction was wrong. Today, Carl Cox isn't just one of the greatest DJs of all time. He is one of the people who helped build electronic music into the global culture it is today. His legacy, what isn't only the records or the festivals or Ibiza. His legacy is proving that passion can outlive every trend. Somewhere, tonight, a young DJ is playing for 20 people, wondering if anyone will ever remember their name. Carl Cox was once that DJ. The difference is that he never stopped believing. And because he never stopped, millions never stopped dancing. This isn't just the story of Carl Cox. It's the story of what happens when passion lasts a lifetime.